Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we do another deep dive into Prime Video. And with that, let's get to the list.
In hell, everybody loves popcorn.
"31" is a 2016 horror movie. Written, directed, and produced by Rob Zombie. It stars Sherry Moon Zombie, Jeff Daniel Phillips, and Richard Brake. 5 carnival workers are kidnapped the night before Halloween and held hostage in a large compound, forced to play a twisted game of life or death called 31.
Tonight, we are going to play 31.
So I'm pretty excited because at the time of recording this, I'm getting ready to fly out tomorrow to Texas to go see Rob Zombie play a concert with Alice Cooper and Ministry. And thanks to my buddy Blasco, who actually plays bass for Rob Zombie. I'm also meeting a couple other YouTubers, Cody Leach and Sean Chandler. So it's going to be just a fun day in general. But it's interesting to me because I didn't really think about it when I added this movie to the list that it was a Rob Zombie movie. So it's kind of a funny coincidence, kind of a Freudian slip maybe, I don't know. But I love this movie. I know that a lot of people don't. I know that Rob Zombie's films are just not for everyone. A lot of people don't like the language, the dialogue, the constant swearing, just the crass sense of humor that it has. Just the style Rob Zombie has in general just doesn't work for everyone. And so I absolutely get that. But I think this movie's a lot of fun. I love the look of it. I love the style of it. I love how gruesome and gritty and dark it gets. And holy shit, Richard Brake, there's this one scene in particular where he gives this long speech to one of his victims. And it's just so badass. He's so disturbing in this scene, so dark and gritty and just really terrifying in this role. It's also just filled with Halloween vibes. I love the costume designs, the gore. It's just what I consider to be a good time. It's not one to take overly serious, but I do think it's a pretty damn good movie and one that deserves a lot more credit than it gets.
Pleasurable experience. This is perfectly natural.
Barbarian is a 2022 horror movie, written and directed by Zach Krager. It stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. I love how much buzz and excitement that this movie received when it was released, because it really caught all of us off guard. Nobody went into this expecting what we got. Unfortunately, it kind of fell into that hype train, and so I've seen a lot of people who saw it later on, not the first wave, because we were all excited, but the people that saw it after the fact and heard the buzz went in expecting, I don't know, something that they didn't get. Like it happens a lot of times. It happened this year with Long Legs. We see this a lot, where a movie may not be for everyone, but when a lot of people are excited about something and they tell everybody it's the scariest movie they've ever seen, or whatever, people get caught up in that hype and end up being disappointed, and that's a bummer. But I do think that this movie is special, and even if you didn't love it, you gotta admit, this movie had style. This movie is different. It comes at you from a very different angle and does some things that I doubt anybody really saw coming. But it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's zany, it is also creepy. I don't know if I'd say it's super scary, but definitely uncomfortable, but also a lot of fun. And the whole cast is fantastic in this, especially Georgina Campbell. I think she really shines in this. I really enjoyed her in Lovely, Dark, and Deep as well, which is another movie that not a lot of people have seen that's over on Tubi, so definitely check that out as well. But this is well written, well directed, it's exciting, and just a good time. So for those of you out there that have not seen this, that maybe just avoided it because of the hype train, I think you might want to change your mind and give this a chance. Either way, even if you have seen this, it's a great rewatch, especially now that it's streaming over on Prime.
We're square.
The Passenger is a 2023 horror thriller. Directed by Carter Smith, it stars Kyle Gallner, Johnny Berchtold, and Lisa Well. A man is forced to face his fears and confront his troubled past while trying to find a way to survive when his coworker snaps and goes on a violent killing spree.
Everything okay?
Someone just assaulted our vice principal in the parking lot.
No, Benson.
Oh my God!
No.
So I talked about this earlier this year, but I still think just not enough people have seen this. I don't understand why that is. I'm telling you, this movie is so damn good. So with all the buzz around Strange Darling, I figured I'd mention this one again because Kyle Gallner is fantastic in that, and I know quite a few people have seen that movie and really enjoyed his performance in that. But this is another one that I think he's given even more of a chance to shine in, and he is absolutely incredible in it. But this is an absolute thrill ride that takes you on an emotional journey. It's intense at times, it's scary at times, very uncomfortable. It just gets really unhinged as it goes. But it's full of surprises, and I think it'll definitely keep you on the edge of your seat. And it's a movie that I highly, highly recommend. Dog Soldiers is a 2002 British action horror movie, written, directed, and edited by Neil Marshall in his directorial debut. It stars Sean Pertwee, Kevin McKidd, and Emma Cleesby. During a routine nighttime training mission in the Scottish Highlands, a small squad of British soldiers finds a bloody massacre with a sole survivor who identifies that what hunts them is werewolves.
Every year more and more people come through here. Every once in a while, they don't come back.
I'm not gonna say this is the best werewolf movie ever made, but it is one of the most fun and probably the most action-packed, violent one out there. It gets gory and brutal. It honestly gives you everything you could want if you enjoy horror and action mixed. But it also has a great sense of humor that actually gets genuinely funny at times. And the look of the werewolves is definitely up there with my favorite designs. It's different, it's unique, but it also still feels believable and grounded as far as a world where werewolves could exist. But the cast do a great job. It's well shot, well directed, well edited, but I think it still really holds up, especially for a movie that's over 20 years old. So if you're looking for something that's exciting and action-packed, as well as full of horror and creatures, this is a fantastic pick.
Such a pretty dress.
In Fabric is a 2018 British dark comedy horror movie, written and directed by Peter Strickland. It stars Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Haley Squires, and Julian Barrett. It's a ghost story set against the backdrop of a busy winter sales period in a department store, and follows the life of a cursed dress as it passes from person to person.
You who wear me will know me.
What's that supposed to mean?
This is an A24 movie, so you know going in that it's artsy and it's definitely not going to be for everyone. It is a bit of a slow burn at times, but it's also pretty funny in a weird, dark way. And weird is the best way to put it with this movie. It's strange, it gets uncomfortable, it's awkward, it feels kind of like an anthology, the way that it goes from character to character as this dress one way or another gets from person to person. But it gets really dark and gets pretty disturbing at times as well. But it's not any kind of exciting, crazy, wild horror movie either. Like I said, this is much more of a slow burn. But if you like a lot of style and creativity and weirdness in movies, then I think this is one you'll enjoy. Lamb is a 2021 folk horror movie, directed by Vladimir Johansson. It stars Noomi Rapace, Bjorn Einar Haraldsson, and Hilmar Snær Gudesen. A childless couple discovers a mysterious newborn on their farm in Iceland. Okay, so I think this is a perfect double feature within Fabric. This is another A24 movie, and it is kind of similar in a lot of ways because weird is exactly the way I would describe it. It's strange, but like in Fabric, it plays on the dread, it plays on anxiety, it makes you uncomfortable because throughout this entire movie, you just don't know what's gonna come next because it doesn't really play by the rules of our universe, so to speak. But it's very much a slow burn and it just builds the anxiety, builds the dread, and gets more and more strange and absolutely uncomfortable as it goes. But you do need to be patient because it takes its time getting where it's going. But I love the look and style of this, the creativity involved. It's unique and interesting in so many different ways. So if you enjoy art house kind of films, the same thing I said about in Fabric, then I think this is one you absolutely need to check out.
You are the fool, Mr. Howard.
Where is Rowan Morrison?
Oh my God!
The Wicker Man is a 1973 British folk horror movie. Directed by Robin Hardy, it stars Edward Woodward, Britt Ekland, and Christopher Lee. A Puritan police sergeant arrives in a Scottish island village in search of a missing girl who the local pagans say never existed.
I am here to investigate the disappearance of a young girl. Where is Rowan Morrison?
If Rowan Morrison existed, we would know.
I'm a huge fan of pagan and cult horror. I love that subgenre. It's one of my favorites. But this is the beginning of it all. This is the movie that really put that genre on the map. But unfortunately nowadays, when you mention The Wicker Man, the first thing that comes to people's minds is Nicolas Cage yelling, "The bees, the bees." And I get it. It's a funny meme, and that movie is not good. But this is The Wicker Man. And it is an absolute classic. It's incredible. It is uncomfortable as all hell. It's beautifully done, so well shot, directed. The performances are great. The music in it's great. The feel and tone and just the overall dread and anxiety that this movie builds throughout is just as good as anything you'll see. And I know most horror fans that are my age and older have already seen this, but I think it's a great rewatch for one. But for two, there's a lot of younger people, like I said, that only think of that version, the Nicolas Cage version of The Wicker Man. And that is not anything like this. That pales in comparison to what this is. So if you're a fan of Midsommar, this is the movie that inspired that. If you enjoyed that movie, this is one that I think is an absolute must-see for any fan of horror.
No! Don't open that door! They're going to get all of us killed!
Something's coming.
10 Cloverfield Lane is a 2016 sci-fi action thriller. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg in his directorial debut. It stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, John Goodman, and John Gallagher. A young woman is held in an underground bunker by a man who insists that a hostile event has left the surface of the earth uninhabitable. This movie is so good. It's one of my favorite performances of all time when it comes to John Goodman. I love him in everything he's ever done, from Roseanne to Arachnophobia. He's just an amazing actor, but also a very fun actor. But you generally don't think of him as a scary figure until you see him in this movie, and he is just terrifying at points in this. But this movie is mysterious and creepy. It's unnerving. It keeps you guessing throughout who the real villain is, because no matter how scary John Goodman is, the question really comes down to, is he right or wrong? Is there really something to be afraid of or not? And that's the real question. but it takes a lot of twists and turns to get you to the answer of that question. So if you're one of the lucky ones out there that have never seen this movie, I envy you so much, but it is one I think you absolutely should put on your list.
Turn on the lights!
Who are you?
Devil is a 2010 supernatural horror movie, directed by John Eric Dowdle and produced by M. Night Shyamalan. It stars Chris Messina, Logan Marshall Green, and Jenny O'Hara. A group of people are trapped in an elevator, and the devil is mysteriously amongst them.
This is not good.
This is such an unnerving, creative, mysterious movie. The whole thing takes place in just this one location inside of an elevator, but yet it never feels slow. It's never boring. It constantly keeps you guessing and trying to figure out what's going to happen next. In my opinion, it's one of the best things that M. Night Shyamalan has ever been involved in. But he did not direct this. That is a misnomer. I see a lot of people say that this is an M. Night movie, and technically he just produced this. I don't know how involved he was with the script or the directing or any of that, because it does have an M. Night kind of feel to it. But as far as in the credits, he is credited as a producer, not the director. But this is creative and well shot. It's well directed. The dialogue is great. The storytelling of it, it's simple, but like I said, it keeps you invested. It keeps you caring about what's going to happen next and guessing throughout the entire runtime. It also gets under your skin and just sticks with you after you're done watching it. But I think this is an extremely well done movie that's definitely worth checking out.
Change the pattern. We changed the pattern and we're not trapped. Who are you?
Triangle is a 2009 psychological horror movie, written and directed by Christopher Smith. It stars Melissa George, Michael Dorman, and Liam Hemsworth. When 5 friends set sail on their yacht, it gets overturned by a strange and sudden storm. And when a mysterious ship arrives to rescue them, what happens next cannot be explained.
Oh, thank God. Hello? Where's everybody?
This is such an underrated gem. I've seen more and more people start talking about it in the last few years, which is awesome. But it definitely deserves more attention even now than it's getting. But it's also a really tough one to talk about because I don't want to give away what makes this movie so interesting. But let's just say it's very mysterious. It's very creepy. There's plenty of horror. There's plenty of weird and uncomfortable things. And like I said, it definitely will keep you guessing throughout because it's just as much of a mystery as it is a horror thriller. It's creative and unique, but it also gets pretty dark and disturbing too. But I think it's a perfect pick for this Saturday night. So do yourself a favor this weekend, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description, or you can become a channel member by clicking on that join button down there and help support the channel that way. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about 10 horror movies that I think you'll enjoy right now over on Tubi. And I'll see you guys next time.